when we try to learn something very deeply is called deep learning. The very first reason why we should learn deep learning is yes, and the second reason why we should learn the deep learning content is because hey everyone, welcome to the session. This is Abhilash Chauhan, and this is going to be the very first session for this entire playlist of deep learning. So, we are planning to prepare the entire playlist for the deep learning from basics to the advanced, in which we will cover every aspect of the neural networks, different types of neural networks, their practical implementation, their mathematical foundation, and everything. Though this is going to be the very first video in which we will be talking about the introduction part. What are neural networks, what is deep learning, why we should learn deep learning, and what are the prerequisites to attain this entire video content. Means there are few concepts, there are few things, few technologies that we should be already aware of before we start learning the deep learning concepts and the neural network. So the very first concept when it comes to the deep neural networks or deep learning, the very first question that arises, what exactly is deep learning? Now, as the name itself explains, the deep learning means when we try to learn something very deeply is called deep learning. No, it's not actually like this. If we try to learn something very deeply is a deep learning. Deep learning, in order to understand the deep learning, we need to understand the machine learning first. What is machine learning? Now, when it comes to the machine learning, the term itself explains the technology. Machine learning, when we try to make the machines learn, is called machine learning. And in deep learning also, we do the same kind of thing. We also try to make the machines learn. But the way, the methods, the approach is little different in case of deep learning. What is the difference? What benefits we get over machine learning if we go with the deep neural networks, and what exactly is the difference in the method in order to make the machine learn? We'll discuss it in a while when we'll get into the screen and we'll start getting more better perspective about the deep learning and machine learning. Now there is one more very frequently asked question, that why we should learn deep learning. There is a very straight answer, a very straight benefit of learning deep learning. The very first reason why we should learn deep learning is yes, and the second reason why we should learn the deep learning content is because right. So these are the two major reasons why you should learn deep learning. Apart from these, there are few other reasons also that we will see over the screen. So yes, we can start and we can discuss the more better concept, more better understanding about the deep neural networks. Okay, so here we are on the whiteboard. We can see there is something written. I have written something about the deep learning and how it is different from the machine learning. That's what we will be discussing. And what are the major modules? What are the major branches we will be covering in this deep learning playlist? Okay, so first of all, the performance of learning algorithms with respect to the amount of data. So if we talk about other learning algorithms like machine learning or any other statistical learning model, as we increase the amount of data, right, the performance got stuck at a point. Now even if we increase the data, the performance is not increasing anymore. But that's not the case with the deep learning. If we see this green curve, like the way we are increasing the amount of data, the performance is also increasing in the same manner, right? So that's the one benefit why we should learn machine learning. The market is getting competitive, right? If we talk about the data science industry right now in the job market, there are lots of jobs, lot of openings, they require deep learning as a mandatory skill set. So that's the one requirement. And why is it getting so much popularity? Because this is one possible cause. the performance of the deep learning algorithms increases as we increase the amount of data, but that is not the case with other statistical or machine learning algorithms. Sometimes it increase, but it's not always it's gonna increase. That's the first reason. Secondly, we have available, like we have a lot of powerful computational resources as well right now. Like if we talk about the days in 90s or 80s, we don't have this complex and this very computational resources. We didn't had hardware resources that can that can compute the complicated algorithms, and they can process the things in fraction of seconds. So right now we have the availability of such resources, cloud, and lots of such things are available at very affordable costing. So that's also another cause, another reason that why the deep learning is getting too much popularity in the industry. So these are the two major things that why we should learn deep learning for the job market. It's actually getting a competitive, so we need to upgrade our skills to stand out. The first thing. Second thing, the availability of hardware resources that is quite cheap and affordable these days. So we can easily use cloud, and we can we can set up our own system, on own ecosystem to work and train on the deep modules, deep learning networks. So these are the basic things why deep learning is getting so much popularity in the industry. Now, how deep learning is beneficial over machine learning? First, we saw the amount of data. More is the data, better could be the performance. Second, this is how machine learning algorithms works. Like we have the data, we do the feature engineering. Feature engineering means we select or we drop the columns, which data is important, which data is not important. That is something we do manually, right? We don't like, there are some automated algorithms like PC and LDA in which we can select and drop, or we can reduce the dimension of data, but still that's a step for us. We need to implement PCA. So we do the feature engineering on our own. Then after the feature engineering, we train the model by some XYZ algorithm, linear regression or decision tree, random forest. There are a bunch of such algorithms. We train a model, we train our model, and then we evaluate to get the accuracy on the test data. So that's the process, that's the steps to follow while train a machine learning model. But when it comes to the deep learning, guys, so we train a neural network. Now, what is neural network? How neural network works? We'll explain it in another video. We will explain the entire process, how to train a neural network, what is the data flow inside a neural networks, what are the elements involved in a neural networks, what are neurons, what are layers, everything. So that will be a separate video to understand neural networks. As of now, just understand it as a deep learning algorithm. There is some deep learning algorithm that is working in this box. We gave the data, and it included the feature engineering and model building, everything in a single neural network. Like, so we have one algorithm, right? We just need to work with the one algorithm that will select the features, and it will build the model by itself. We don't need to worry about the feature engineering separately, and we don't need to build a model separately. We just need to create a good neural network that will do the feature engineering and model building, everything in a single step. And after this, it will return us the output. We can evaluate the predicted output with the actual output, and we can check the accuracy. Now, how to train it? While training a neural network, there are certain forward propagation and backward propagation. That's a step that happens in neural networks. So we'll talk about that in more detail in some other video. So that's the another benefit. That's what deep learning is capable of over the machine learning. And we often use deep learning where machine learning lacks, where machine learning algorithm lacks. So there are a bunch of use cases, there are a bunch of use cases where machine learning is not capable enough to give some good results. Yes, so in those cases we often use the deep learning. That is the benefit we have seen. We can see the amount of data increases the performance in case of deep learning algorithms, and it is quite handy as well. The frameworks, we have the frameworks to implement, handy in case we don't have a lot of things to implement here. So we just need to tune a neural network, the number of neurons and the number of layers, and we are good. This neural network is going to decide the features, and it will exclude or include whatever is required, and it will build the model and give us the accuracy. How it's working, we'll talk in different video. So that's what benefit we get over the neural networks. Now, after this, what exactly, what like in machine learning, we have the branches: supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, and reinforcement learning. So what exactly we have in the deep learning? So deep learning, entire deep learning revolves around three types of neural network. One is the very first and the basics, that is the single and multi-layer perceptron. Please excuse me for the bad handwriting. This is single, this is multi-layer, this is perceptron, and this is the and symbol. So this is single and multi-layer perceptrons. That's a kind of neural network through which we can solve classification and regression problems. We will see how these networks work. Second is the convolutional neural networks. That is something we work with the images and the video frames. So in case of images and video frames, we need to detect the object. We need to detect the faces. We use the convolutional neural networks. There are some transfer learning methods as well. So some pre-built models are already there. We can train them some custom data and all those things. So we'll talk about that in more detail. The third category is the recurrent neural networks, that is basically used in natural language processing, NLP. Like not specifically NLP, it's not complete NLP, but wheresoever we have the sequential data. Sequential means any data that carries a sequence. For example, any time series data where the price of some asset with respect to a time duration, time interval, price of some asset per hour, per day, or anything, if there is a sequence in the data. And most probably when we work with a natural language, so it carries a sequence. Definitely the order of the words, the sequence of the words will give you some sense in a sentence. So the sequence is very important in case of natural languages as well. Sequence is also important in the time series data as well. So wheresoever we have the sequential data, we go with this third category of neural networks, that is recurrent neural networks. Now in recurrent neural networks also, we have further other types of neural networks, LSTM, GRU, and other networks. We'll also talk about that in more detail. So that was the basics, the introduction of this neural networks. What all we have covered in this video session is the basics. What is deep learning? Something we learned very deeply is called deep learning, right? Now, deep learning is again a method to train a machine's learn, right? To make a machine learn, sorry. Deep learning is a method to make the machines learn, like machine learning only, but there are different methods, different process to make a machine learn. The first thing. Second thing, why we should learn deep learning? Because deep learning have some advantages over machine learning, right? The performance increases as per the data increases. Second, it does the feature engineering and feature selection by itself. And obviously there are some downsides as well, because in deep learning we need more, it's quite expensive in computation. So it requires more computational resources while we implement the deep learning algorithms. That's the downside of deep learning. But when it comes to the performance, when it comes to the when it comes to solving more complicated business cases like dealing with images and video frames, this deep learning is the best solution for those things. So I hope this was informative. We understood the basics. Stay tuned. We will prepare a video. We will create and prepare a video soon for the further explanation of the neural networks, how they work, what is the information flow, what are the mathematics, what are the calculation behind the neural networks, and so on. We will be continuing this entire video series. Thanks for watching. And what we used to say, like, share, subscribe if you feel so. I haven't, honestly, for me, I haven't subscribed the channels when I used to go to YouTube. And if when like I was learning, I rarely used to subscribe any channel. But now I started subscribing if I'm learning something. So I request, if you are also learning, don't do any mistake like I did while my college days. You can subscribe. That's actually when you subscribe, uh, it will give you some benefit, and somehow you will get the benefit while you subscribe the channel. Thank you. What benefit you will get, we will talk in next video. Thank you, guys.